and it's really a selection of about 6 or 7 trades on a Friday evening, from the good and the bad and the ugly, basically. And I'm starting off with Bolton Wigan, which was a game that a member asked me to sort of have a look at for him, and my advice, sort of in immediate reply, was leave it alone. Both sides were kind of fairly inconsistent. However, I decided to sort of plug away with it anyway. And what I did was I just went for goals here, and I backed over 2.5, over 3.5, over 4.5, and even, just for good measure, over 5.5. And in the correct score market, I backed 2-2 and 3-3. Another game, we'll come back to that Bolton one later. During the in-play session here, I'd also laid the 2 leading favourites in French League 2. Both were leading 2-0, so that was a fairly sort of cheap particular lay that we can employ. And over in Holland, Excelsior against Utrecht, where I'd backed 2-2, 3-3 and over 3.5. There seemed to be a lot of action going on there, and goals were to be expected. After about 70 odd minutes in the Excelsior game, not particularly born out of frustration, but just the in-play stats were showing that Excelsior were really going for it. So I decided to increase my liability by laying 1-1 at various decreasing odds. The first one we can see I matched at 1.83 for £5. I put in another lay at 1.64 for £8, and a third lay at 1.36 for £15. So I'm hoping to get at least 1 or 2 of those matched. So I'm looking at sort of quite a heavy loss there, but I'm quite confident the stats were really showing that another goal was likely. Back over in Sochaux, we laid them for £100 at 1.08 when they were leading 2-0, and in the 80th minute, Ajaccio got a goal back. Now, what that means is, of course, that the match odds price on Sochaux had now drifted, which meant that I could possibly get out for, a few pounds profit, or at least perhaps even just clear that £6 red. So I'm just waiting for the market to settle. You can see there I could take £7.81 hedge green. That's the Betfair cash out function, not to be used on all occasions, frankly. You don't get very good prices, so do it manually if you can. So I'm asking for 1.15, so I just want to clear that £6 red at least on Sochaux and hope for another Ajaccio goal in the last sort of 6 or 7 minutes. Looks like I'm not going to get matched on the 1.15, so I might have to lower that at least. I think the point with these sort of very cheap lays, I mean, well, what is cheap? Well, £6 is, for the purpose of trading principles, I decided to, I think, adhere to them. The sort of the strict ideas of, managing your bank, protecting your bank, and reducing your red while, when you can. So, obviously, I just tried to reduce that £6 on Sochaux. And a very, very similar trade, Orléans-Clermont in French League 2, where I'd laid Orléans at 1.05, I think it was, or 1.06, again for £100. So, again, I'm just waiting for one Clermont goal, and exactly the same thing would happen in the match odds if they do, as it did in the Sochaux game. I'm taking a sort of a slight flyer here on laying 2-0. It looked like there was a kind of a lot of activity from Clermont in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, and good news was that they got a goal back. So I'd won £10 on the correct score market, but I'm losing £8 on the match odds. And when we see the prices settle, I can't really sort of get any sort of decent leverage there at all. I'd laid at 1.08. and it looks like with about sort of 5 minutes to go that the match odds on Orléans weren't really going to drift out to give me a sort of a decent-ish kind of profit. 70p I could have had there, I suppose. So I decided to leave that, knowing that I'd already won the £10 on the correct score market. So, you know, I hadn't lost. I'd made to at least £2 minimum. So I just let that one run and hope for a Clermont goal. Over back in Holland, and the 1-1 lay, I got 2 of those matched, which is good news. So I've now got £11 green on 1-2, which is reduced from £24. However, I saw this £25 liability on the over 3.5, and there's something like sort of 10 minutes left to play there. But as the stats were showing, there was a lot of activity going on, and I felt another goal could be likely. I mean, I could have got out for a scratch there by hedging out for £12 green, red I should say, on the over 3.5. I've got the £11 on the sort of 1-2. I've got £12 on 2-1. But I've got this £87 on 2-2. So I'm just being a bit greedy. And, okay, I'm kind of going to be prepared to accept that I could lose sort of £12 on this particular trade if no more goals were scored. Well, in fact, £25 less 11 I've got on the 1-2, so that would be £14 possible loss. But I've got all these other trades going, and I've already made sort of a few quid. So, you know, I'm looking at sort of overall here on all these trades that I'm doing, and I'm thinking, well, all right, I've got this big possible bumper payout on the 2-2. We'll come back to that in a second. Sochaux took the lead 3-1, but they didn't. Apparently it was offside, so the goal was disallowed. But that trade actually is in effect over anyway. I'd lost sort of £1 there on the match odds. So just want to get back to the Excelsior Utrecht game. And in the 91st minute, bingo. 2-2, what I'd hoped for was the jackpot, so I'd won on the over 3.5, £21 there, and I'd also won £57 on the 2-2. So, with whatever sort of injury time, and I think it's always very sort of useful here, particularly when I can see I've got £13 red on 2-3 or any unquoted or 3-2, I want to lay some of that 2-2. Remember, I've sort of won sort of £78 on this particular trade, so a final lay in injury time is obviously the right thing to do. And it's a bit odd this, because it looks like there's about 2 minutes of injury time left, and the prices are on the 2-2 there. You can see it's sort of 1.2, 1.3 to lay, and I couldn't quite understand what was going on, unless there was obviously sort of, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes injury time. So I've had to adjust that lay at 1.11. I want to get that quickly matched before there's another sort of very, very late goal. Because if there is another goal scored, I've won £21 on the over 3.5, but I'd lose £13 on the correct score market. So an £8 profit, you know, when I'm looking at the moment, is if it stays 2-2 at 78. So, you know, that's the reason for laying. Don't rest on your laurels with sort of a couple of minutes to go. France full time, 2-1 to Sochaux, so that's just a £1 loss there. Orléans, I'd lost £8 on the match odds, but I'd won £10 on the correct score market. And we're coming into what I think is supposed to be the final minutes of this game, but I actually wasn't looking at the timing clock. So, but in fact, it ended rather oddly, really. It's been ended 2-2, so there's a nice sort of £70-odd profit there. Over to Germany and Hertha Berlin, who I thought with their particularly sort of strong home record, and Hanover, who had a particularly poor away record, it was worth doing what we call a gunslinger here. I'm laying Hanover in the match odds. I'm also laying the current score, and there's about 15 minutes left to play. So I've laid Hanover for £30 at 1.31, give myself a £9 liability there, and I've laid 0-1, the current score, at 1.99 for £15. So basically I need just a goal either way, and preferably to Berlin. That didn't happen. In the 78th minute, Hanover scored, which is okay. I mean, I've won £15 there on the correct score market, but I've lost £9 on their match odds. So there's a kind of a small profit there, but could have been a lot better, obviously, if Hertha had actually got an equalising goal. And in Belgium, again, second half strategy where I'm laying the leading team, Zulte Waregem, in the match odds, and I'm also laying the current score of 1-2. So exactly the same principle as for Hertha against Hanover. I'd like Ostend to equalise. So I'd win both on the correct score market and I'd win on the match odds. So I'm laying Waregem. A virtually identical trade and staking for the Hertha against Hanover game. So we'll just wait till those get matched, and sort of over to French League 2, and there's about sort of 10 minutes left in this 0-0 game, Rennes against Lorient. And what I've done here is just simply lay the draw for 0-0 at 1.46 for £15, and I've laid under 1.5 goals for £40. So I just need one goal again either way, and preferably two in the last 10 minutes. So you can see there I laid under 1.5 for £40, giving myself a £2.80 liability, and I've got a £15 potential green should either Rennes or Lorient score. Back to Belgium, just a confirmation there. We can see that the 1-2 lay has been matched, and the match odds lay of the leading favourite, that's been matched too. So just one goal again either way. And all of these trades, you can see that these sort of second half late and cheap sort of lays, I'm just looking basically at sort of just one goal, and from either side, to give you an opportunity of a profit. And back over to the Bolton game, where this is sort of my biggest trade, certainly in terms of staking. I've got something like a sort of £74 total liability across all of the markets. We'll get back to that one sort of shortly. We're coming into the sort of final 5 minutes of the Belgian game, Ostend, and the wrong side scored, as I mentioned earlier. Not to worry, at least a goal was scored. It was by the leading team, Waregem. So I won sort of around about sort of £5 or £6 profit on that particular trade. And good news over in France. Rennes scored in the 88th minute. So I just want one more goal for a £40 green, as you can see there. A couple of minutes to go. But again, I won sort of £15 on the match odds, so £2.80. Red on the under 1.5, so there's a profit available there. Now, what I'm hoping for in Bolton Wigan, it was 0-0 at half time. The trade wasn't looking that kind of good. But Bolton went into a 2-0 lead after sort of 54 minutes. You can see the correct scores I've got there. The 1-1 is obviously dead. The 2-2, that's it's going to be kind of fairly difficult to do anything there. I really need a Wigan goal here. The over 3.5 goals and the over 4.5 and the under over 2.5, you can all see that with about 40 minutes left to play, I've got an opportunity to green up and then take some kind of profit, or least reduce some of the red. And I think this is sort of quite important here, that with all of these markets I'm using, I don't want to leave them all open and exposed. I'm going to either close some of the markets or at least reduce the red. Quickly over to the French League 2 game, and I'm just basically putting a quick sort of couple of pounds on the draw. I'm just taking £2 off the possible £15 I've got on the Renault-Lorient. So if there's one other goal, I've got the £40 on the over 1.5 and an equal sort of green in the match odds market. Couple of minutes left now to play, so obviously one more goal, I'll be looking at sort of around about £55. Didn't happen. It's full time. Still a profit was made of around about sort of £10, £11 there. And we're coming sort of close to the end in the Belgian game, and the Hertha Hanover game, well, that's kind of dead unless Hertha get sort of 2 goals in the last sort of 5 minutes. But as noted already, there's a profit there. And goals keep coming over in Bolton Wigan. And it's 3-0 now. So I've lost the 1-1, I've lost the 2-2. Only thing left there is a 3-3. But obviously I've won the £18 on the over 2.5, which is good news. Now I've got this £12 liability, and I'm going to take very quickly a hedged green profit on the over 3.5 market for £18. And what that effectively does is give me a free trade. So let's do the quick maths here. We've won £18 on the over 2.5. We've won £18 on the under or over 3.5 goal market, and we've lost £24 on the correct score market. And here we've got the over 4.5, and I've got a £7 liability. So I'm looking at a trade that I can't lose for sure, but obviously another sort of 1 goal very quickly, or another 2, then I'm in for some decent money. But you know, I'd like to clear perhaps a little bit of that, maybe that red on the under 5.5. I've got the £7 red on the under 4.5. You can see there. And I'd like to sort of clear that if possible. I'd like to get out with just more than sort of £7, £8, £10 profit on this particular trade. But I'm looking for a big sort of payout if possible. And I feel kind of reasonably okay with not sort of taking the profit on all of the markets like I could have done. I would have got, I don't know, around about £16 or £17 overall. It's just that I've already sort of made some sort of profits on the sort of 4 or 5 other trades during the course of this session. So I can feel a little bit more bullish about trying to let some of these markets open and hopefully get the sort of goals that I require. So there we can see. Am I going to reduce that? £4 red. Nah, let's leave that. There's 30 odd minutes to play, so I'm doing okay. And with this fact that I've already sort of made a profit over the evening, I'm going to go in a little bit more sort of aggressively now. I'm backed 3-1, 3-2, and any unquoted, and my total staking on that when Dutching those 3 is £10. Sorry, £14. So it's if it remains 3-0, then I will lose sort of £4 on the whole trade. But as I sort of mentioned a moment or two ago, I'm really trying to go for a jackpot here where if another goal is scored, it's 3-1 or it's 3-2 or any unquoted, and I'm going to win on a further 3 markets: the correct score, the over 3.5, and the over 4.5. So I'm looking at a maximum loss of £4 on the whole trade. But I'm looking at sort of plus 60 or 70 should 2 more goals be scored. Even 1 more goal would be okay, because I've got 3-1 or any unquoted there. Remember that I've already got £36 secured from the over 2.5 and the over 3.5 market. You can see there I've got rid of that £7 red on the over 4.5, and in the 80th minute, Wigan score to make it 3-1. 79 minutes, so there's 11 minutes and injury time left to play. 1 more goal. You can see I've got £34 possible on the over 4.5, and I'm going to leave it. I could have hedged there for about £8, but I've got a possible big sort of payout on the 3-2 if that comes in as well, and any unquoted, it's only a £10 red there, so it's looking, the potential is looking very good anyway. Now you can see I could take £12, 64p hedge green on the over 4.5, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to be greedy, but I'm also relating it to what I've already done in the sort of trading session. In fact, the game ended 3-1 to Bolton. And I decided, sort of a few minutes to go, just to final £2 on any unquoted. So that would give me a nice overall sort of £74 profit. Not to be. I ended up with about sort of £15 profit overall. There was a possible £74 going there. And now we can see £98.87p on the trading session. There was a couple of games there that weren't included in the video, but there's about 7 or 8 trades there. I mean, all for reasonable stakes and a variety of different strategies, where some were possible big payouts and others was a small £5-10 profit. Good. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.